Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Apollyon back with Legacy of Discord. I hope you are doing good. So today finally we will be talking about the mounts, which are the best mounts in game and which are the worst mounts in game. And this video is something which is been requested for so long by so many of you guys, and finally today I decided to do this. It was not easy, took me a lot of time and had to talk with some other players as well before we could come up with the ratings for each mod, and I'll be explaining it how this is gonna work, because it is not that simple to just go and say that this mod is good, this mod is bad. So we had to come up with a format here so we could rate the mounts, their talents and divinity, and come up with a final scores which would tell us how good the mount is. So you guys can see here, this is a template that I created for the mounts. You guys can see this is for a individual mount. We will be reviewing each individual mount, talents and divinity, giving each individual talent a rating of good, epic, legendary or mystic. Good rating gets the 1 point, epic gets the 2 points, legendary gets 3 and mystic gets 4. And we will be going through each talent and then we will rate that talent, and at the end we will see how many points that mouse gets, and that will tell us the total ranking or total rating for the mount. And remember, this is based on individual mounts. We won't be talking about if you can like stack this mount with another, then it is gonna be good, or this mount is good for the Skyfall, it's good for the PvP. It is not gonna work like that. I won't be considering Skyfall at all. These ratings are gonna be for the ground PvP only, and we won't be considering stacking up mounts with others at all. We will be individually rating mounts, talents and divinity and see how good they stand out there on, and then we will review each mount. So let's go and start with the Cyberglider here, the first golden mount which was released in game. Cyberglider, this is the mount here, and we will be reviewing its talents here. So let's go to the talent page here. So you guys are already seeing that I gave this amount a rating of 22, and now I'm going to explain why is that. So the first talent, it says that enemies get frozen for 4 seconds within 80 range. Now you guys must be thinking why I did not give it a mystic rating and why legendary, because nowadays it is not that hard to avoid these talents, especially if you have some control immunities. You can get away from these control effects here, just like the frozen, and that is why it got the rating of legendary. And since it does not have anything else happening with the talent, it is gonna be a legendary there. And then the second talent, it says that 2% burning damage. That is just not good in my opinion anymore. It is not gonna help you in any battle. The fights usually end in like few seconds, so this talent is not gonna be any use. It won't be killing anyone in game. And then the third talent, it is again a green talent. lightning damage 5%, then again it won't be killing anyone and won't be much of a use, especially nowadays. People can like recover a lot of HP, so it is not gonna be that useful. But then on the fourth talent we have a mystic rating here, because it does give you a invincibility for 4 seconds. You don't take any damage for 4 seconds, and that is something which is really useful still in game, so it gets a rating of mystic. And then on the fifth skill it says slow down enemies within 80 range. Does not say anything else there, like how much is slow down the enemy, does not say, so it gets a rating of epic. And then if we go and see the sixth skill, it is actually getting a rating of mystic there, because it has two things happening with this skill. First off, it is pulling enemies towards you and then applying a silence effect to them, so that makes that talent a mystic quality. It is gonna silence your enemies and it will pull them towards you, so you can fight them, kill them. So that is what makes that talent a really good. And then if we go and see the seventh talent, you guys must be thinking why I did not give it a mystic and why legendary only, because in reality the healing is not that good. It looks good on the skill here when we reabsorb the life of all enemies within 80 range of you, healing you for 4% HP per second while dealing 4% damage to enemies per second, increase defense by 100% for 10 seconds. It does looks good when we read it, but in reality it is not doing that good, so that is why it gets a rating of legendary. But anyways, as for the divinity, it is gonna get a rating of mystic, because it's a lot of movement speed. In reality, this is one of the highest movement speed you can get in game. Cyberglider is not known for a movement speed by a lot of players, but this is actually a really good mount to give you movement speed when you are fighting players. It gives you a movement speed of 75%, which is insane, and is also increase your block and dodge by 150%, which is really useful in some PvP battles. But then again, it gets a mystic rating because of the 75% movement speed, which is really high. But anyways, now let's go and review the next mount, which is gonna be the Dragon Chariot, which is gonna be this mount here. So let's go to the skills here, so you guys can see Dragon Chariot got the rating of 22 as well. Let's not spend too much time here explaining the skills. So first one got the rating of epic because it only reduced the attack speed of enemies by 30% and they take like 2% ice damage. Again, it's decent. The only reason it got the epic rating here is because of the speed reduction on the enemy, because that 2% ice damage is just too low. And then the second skill, burning enemies for like 5%, again really low, not gonna kill anyone, so not useful. Then you can like paralyze the enemies, and it also deals some lightning damage. That lightning damage is gonna like not gonna do anything to enemies, so paralyze is the only reason that this skill got the legendary. And then fourth skill, it can silence enemy, again good skill, get the legendary, but nothing that I'm gonna call is like a mystic skill. And then fifth skill, increase your attack and movement speed by 30%. The only reason this skill is getting a legendary is because it is increasing movement speed by 30%. So that's a decent skill, legendary skill. And then 6th skill there gets a mystic because it can reflect back your enemy damage back to them, and this skill is really good. Sometimes when you reflect the damage back to the attacker, they lose their own HP like 40% up to like 50%, so it can be really insane sometime. And then the last skill increase total damage by 20% for 5 seconds. The total damage is really high, 20%, but is still nothing which is gonna make it a mystic skill, so gets a legendary. And as for the immunity, attacking enemy, there is a 24% chance to increase your crit damage and critical damage by 50%. That's high, but still nothing that is gonna make it a mystic. If it was like skill damage or total, it would be a mystic, but it's like critical damage reduction, and those are nothing which is gonna make a big difference on the ground PvP. And it also increases your attack speed by 30% for 5 seconds, so a legendary divinity, and gets a rating of 22 in total. That's the Dragon Chariot. And next, let's go and check out the Aurugos mount. Now this is taking a bit too long, so I'm just gonna go through my charts here explaining each mount talents, why they got the rating they got, so it makes more sense. So first off, the first talent here got the epic rating because it has only the value of 10%, increase total damage by 10%. If it was higher than like 15%, I would give it a legendary. And second skill gets a legendary because it increases your movement speed by 20%, which is good, attack speed by 40%, which is good to trigger talents which require basic attack. So it has two things happening with that. Talents gets a legendary. Its third skill is nothing special, only damage enemy, grant HP by 8%, not gonna kill them, not gonna do anything just to them, so just gets a good rating and green rating there. Fourth skill, recover your HP by 25%, legendary, healing is good. And then fifth skill, knockdown, automatically mystic. Any mount that can knock down is mystic, and this is also dealing a lightning damage, which is a elemental attack, so it gets a rating of mystic. Knockdown cannot be avoided by anything, so it gets a rating of mystic. And then the sixth skill is increase your total damage reduction by 16%, and that is why it gets a rating of legendary. Anything which is going to be 16% on the totals, it will get a legendary ranking. And then as for the 7 talents here, a really good talent. It can reflect back the effects to the attacker or someone else in the area, like the paralyzed, root, confused, or any other effects. It can reflect back to the target, and that makes this talent a mystic. And then as for the divinity, again a mystic talent. When attacking enemies, there is a 24% chance to increase your skill damage by 100%, which makes it a mystic. 100% skill damage increase is huge, so it's a mystic, and it also increases your rage by 10. So this is Aurugos here, 24, gets more points than Cyberglider and the Dragon Chariot. But anyways, now let's go and check out the next mount, which is Umbral Fin. You guys can see it gets a rating of 26. And why is that? Because first skill is a mystic, gets you a 60% movement speed, which is the highest on the talents in game right now. So it's a mystic, really high speed. And then the second can increase the total damage reduction by 15% and attack speed by 20%. So two things happening there. Gets a rating of a legendary. And then the task reduce the movement speed by 20%, and that's the only reason it is getting a rating of epic. That 3% ice damage is not gonna do anything. And then fourth skill gets a rating of legendary because it is gonna restore HP for you, and healing skills are really good. And then fifth skill can knock down enemies for 4 seconds, and knockdown, like I said before, is unavoidable, so it gets a rating of mystic there. And then 6 skill enemies in 80 range get frozen for 5 seconds, a good control effect there, and gets a rating of the legendary there. And then at the end, the 7th skill, there is a 15% chance to reduce the damage of enemies within 80 range by 10%, increase your total damage by 10% last 5 seconds. So it is decreasing the total damage of enemies and increasing yours, so that makes it a legendary. And as for the divinity, it is increasing your skill damage again by 100% and giving you the rage, and that makes it a mystic skills, and it gets a rating of 26 here. And now let's go and check out the next mount. Alright, next we have a tribe, and I'm sure you guys thinking why it gets so low, only 20, and I'm gonna go and explain. First skill only gets you the total damage reduction of 10%, not enough for the legendary, needs to be 16% or higher. And then the second one, 20% movement speed and 40% attack speed. Two things happening, only reason got the legendary. Task skill increasing movement speed by 20%, not enough to get the legendary. If it was 30%, 35%, then I would give it a legendary. And then fourth skill, recover HP, gets a legendary. And then the fifth skill here gives you another 25% movement speed, again not enough to give it a legendary. Should be higher than 30% movement speed, or should have something else happening with the skill, like the second skill there. And then the sixth skill here, you guys must be why only epic and not legendary for the paralyze, because the duration of the paralyze is only 2 seconds, and there are other skills with the 5 seconds and 4 seconds which I gave legendary, so this gets only epic there. And then at the end, 7th skill, chance to increase extra damage for the next 5 seconds by 10%. That is just not good, only gets blue there. 10% AD is like nothing, but when it comes to the divinity, when attack, 24% chance to increase on movement speed by 75%, so that's insane movement speed right there. And then it can also knock down your enemies when they attack you, so it has a mystic divinity and gets a rating of 20. Alright, so next we have the Hell Chariot here. It got one of the worst rating among all the golden mounts, only a rating of 16. The first skill only gives you the 10% skill damage reduction. It was like 16%, it would get legendary. Second skill gives you skill damage for 10%, gets epic. Task skill reduce enemy damage reduction by 20. If it was 30%, then I would have given it legendary, but it gets epic. Fourth skill reduce enemy movement speed by 24% and attack speed by 48%, so that's a legendary skill there, because a lot is happening there. And then the fifth skill, enemies within 80 range receive damage equal to 2% of their current HP per second. It's a legendary skill. Could have been better, like the Chromoagore that we will see when we reach there, but right now this one gets the legendary. And then the sixth skill, allies recover 2% of their max HP per second. A epic skill there, because it is nothing really that big, which is like gonna recover your or your allies HP that quick. It is a decent, so guess epic there. And then attacks have a 28% chance to increase on extra damage by only 10%, so guess green, really low value there. And then Divinity, I don't even want to read. 6% chance to do some more damage and recover some HP, so it's like being there. And guess a rating of 16. And then as for the Baalkor, gets a rating of 22 here. The first skill increase critical damage by 24% and attack speed by 35% for 6 seconds. Decent skill, gets a epic. And then the second skill increase critical damage reduction by 24%, and the movement speed by 35%. That movement speed really made the talent legendary. And then the task reduced the enemy movement speed and increase on extra damage by 10% for 6 seconds is an epic skill. Fourth one, reduce enemy attack speed and increase on 10% damage reduction for 6 seconds, epic skill. And the next two talents, they both get legendary. They are exactly the same. You are reducing enemy skill damage and increasing your skill damage, and then you are reducing the skill damage reduction and increasing skill damage of yours. So both are the legendary skills. There is something that makes a big difference now in game. So, and the 7th skill, 20% chance to increase on total damage and total damage reduction by 12 for 6 seconds. So another legendary skill there, giving you 12% total damage and total damage reduction. And as for the divinity, the divinity on this mount is really good. Guess a rating of mystic. Attacks have a 20% chance to strike an additional time, dealing damage equal to 80% of attack. The additional strike won't land a critical strike. Even though you don't land a critical strike with an additional strike, it is still gonna do that 80% additional damage. So this is really good and deals a lot of damage. So 22 points for the Baalkor. And next we have the Orge Magi. I guess a rating of 19. Second was mount rating that is under 20 from all the mounts that I rated. So first skill increase extra damage by 18% for 6 second, guess epic. Increased damage reduction by 18, gets a rating of epic. Third skill is just too confusing but doesn't deal much damage. It says damage enemies for 5 seconds, dealing 15% of their missing HP per second. It's not that big. It looks good, but it is not that good in like a real gameplay. So guess a rating of epic. A fourth skill increase 15% TDR when HP drop below 70%, 20% attack and base attack for 5 seconds. This skill could have been a legendary, but when you drop to the 15% HP, you most probably end up dying. And once people will like get the Chromoagore mount, having HP less than 70% mean you will like end up dying. So this skill gets a rating of epic there. And then the fifth skill, avoid stun and negative effects for 4 seconds, gets a legendary ranking. Sixth skill gets the rating of Green here, good. 1 point only, reduce enemy skill damage and skill damage reduction by only 5%. That is really low, so guess a rating of green there. And then the 7th skill is actually a mystic there, 15% chance to increase your total damage by 16%, and another 5% total damage for each enemy within 80 range. Goes all the way up to 35%, so that 35% makes it a mystic talent. And as for the divinity, guess a rating of legendary, since it can increase your critical damage and critical damage reduction by 100% and restore your rage to 100, and the cooldown is 40 seconds. So Orge Magi 19 total ranking. And then we have the Phoenix, one of the best mounts here when it came to the ranking, really high there, 27 points. The first skill, guess a legendary, because it can increase your total damage by 16%. That's high. If you see the inscribed talents of the Platinum Pass, gives you the 18%, and this skill here giving you 16% there, so that makes it a legendary skill. And the second talent there, 15% chance to absorb 10% skill damage reduction up to 40% from enemies within 80 range for 6 seconds, a mystic skill there, because the value goes all the way to 40% there. And the task reduce enemy skill damage by 15% and confuse them for 3 seconds. Guess a ranking of legendary. And then you can reduce enemy 16% mana and freeze them for 3.5 seconds, legendary again. And the fifth skill is mystic here, when HP is below 50%. That is pretty normal to have a 50 HP of 50% and 15% chance to recover 50% HP instantly and become immune to control effects for 2 seconds. So that makes this talent a mystic, a lifesaver in battles. And then the sixth talent here, the sixth talent, 15% chance to cancel the next damage received. This is something which I'm sure you guys have noticed. When you hit someone, it feels like you have went through them and your hits are not landing. This is the Phoenix in like work, so this is really good talent and can be really annoying, and the cooldown is only 10 seconds. And then the last talent here, the seventh one, guess another mystic. This is like I don't think I have to like read this, but it can deal a lot of elemental damage around you, like 500%, and that is insane. And as for the divinity, attacks have a 16% chance to freeze target for 2 seconds and inflict burn damage equal to 1% of their current HP. This effect lasts 3 seconds, cooldown 30 seconds. So it can freeze, so it gets a legendary and total ranking, total rating of 27, a really good mount here, Phoenix. And then we have the Heartron here, and now I know you guys are thinking, how the heck Archion gets 27 rating? Does not make sense. So I'll just go and read and explain why it got 27 points here. So first skill, reduce the total damage reduction of enemies by 16%, and that's really high. 16% is high for total damage reduction, so guess is legendary there. And the second talent, increase your total damage reduction by 16%, guess another legendary. And then we have the mystic talent here, because increase your mana by 16% and movement speed by 40%. So if you have this skill here, you will never have to use mana potions after using any skills. You can just keep on spamming your skills, and it is giving you the 40% 15% movement speed as well. So a mystic talent there. And then we have another mystic talent here, increase your rage, meaning it is giving you rage, filling your ultimate meter. And that is how I'm sure you guys have seen me, how fast I use my ultimates in cross-server battles, or even the fellowship war. I have my ultimate meter at 100% from the beginning. So this is what makes this skill so good. Mystic skill here. Rage is really important in game, so this is a mystic talent here, and also increase your attack speed by 40%, which is gonna increase the chance of triggering the talents which require the basic attacks. And then we have some healing happening there. Guess a legendary. Every healing talent which is giving you this much healing in only 3 seconds is a legendary. And then as for the 6th skill, reduce the total damage of enemies by 16%, again 16%, so guess a legendary. And as for the 7th skill here, 20% chance to increase your total damage by 16%, again 16%, so guess a legendary. And as for the divinity here, attacks have a 16% chance to increase your movement speed by 30% and skill damage by 60%. So you are getting really good amount of movement speed, and 60 for the skill damage is mystic. So a really good amount. I would say it's the amount which boosts your raise, your rage, your mana, your movement speed. So a very good mount here, and gets a ranking and rating of 27 points here. And next we have the Ganesha here, another mount which got the rating of 27 points here. Really high, and one of the best mounts in game. And as for the skill, again, reduce enemy total damage by 16%. I'm sure you guys seen the pattern. When it's 16% total, gets a legendary. And then reduce enemy total damage reduction by 16%, gets legendary. Stun enemies for 4 seconds, gets legendary. And I'm sure this skill says that it increases your skill damage reduction, but it's a wrong translation by the developers. It is actually increasing your rage. It is being confirmed it is increasing your rage, so it's just a mystic quality here, mystic talent here. Rage is just so important. Once you have this talent, you cannot like live without it. It is that good. And then the 5th talent here, increase your skill damage by 16%, again increasing your total raise here. Skill damage 16, like gets a legendary. And then the 6th skill here, negate most control effects and increase movement speed by 40% for 3.5 seconds, so you can avoid the effects like stun and other stuff and increase your movement speed. So this is a mystic talent. And then at the end, 7th talent here, increase the critical damage reduction by 60%, and that is why it is getting a legendary ranking. If it was like below 60 or 50, it would be a epic talent, but 60 is really high on the critical damage reduction, so I guess a legendary. And as for the divinity there, I guess a mystic as well. Attacks have a 16% chance to knock down enemies for 3 seconds. So it has a knockdown. I don't think I have to say anything else. A knockdown is really good. And on the top of the knockdown, it is also reducing the total damage reduction of your enemies by 60%. So it's a mystic divinity here, and Ganesha gets a rating of 27. And next we have a royal carriage, one of the 2 mounts which got 28 points here on the rating. And you guys be And you guys are gonna be like, wow, how the heck it got 28? So increase movement speed by 60% for 6 seconds. That's the max movement speed you can get on the amount a single talent there, so that's really good. Gets a mystic right away. Then reduce skill damage by 16% for 6 seconds, again 16% skill damage reduction. Gets a legendary. Reduce enemy skill damage. Sorry, that was skill damage. This is skill damage reduction. Both are legendary. Then reduce enemy total damage by 16%. Legendary. Then reduce enemy total damage reduction by 16%. Legendary. I think I was wrong again. Total damage and total damage reduction, both legendary. And then the sixth talent here. You and allies become immune to most negative effects and increase total damage reduction by 16% for 5 seconds. Gets a mystic. That skill is a game changer in game. And then the 7th skill, 20% chance to make you and allies within 80 range immune to most control effects and increase total damage by 16% for 5 seconds. So another mystic talent there. Talents like these make you walk in other people aura without getting affected. And as for the divinity, another mystic. When attacked, there's a 16% chance to reduce the attacker's skill damage and skill damage reduction by 40%. So that is a huge reduction on the enemy, and the cooldown is only 16 seconds. So another divinity with a mystic, and the mount gets a total ranking of 24 points. A really awesome mount. And next we have Flame Griffin here. It is getting a ranking of 27. The first skill here increase the total damage by 16%, legendary. Increase total damage reduction, legendary. Increase skill damage by 20%, legendary. Increase skill damage reduction, legendary. Silence and disarm. So you guys are seeing that I have given this talent here a mystic because it had the silence and disarm on one talent, and that makes it a mystic talent. And right up next we are seeing a paralyze here, and that I give a legendary because it only have the paralyze and it can paralyze for 4 seconds. So legendary. If it has something else, it would become mystic as well. But anyways, and then as at the end, 7th skill, 35% chance to become immune to most control effects for 6 seconds. So that is really good there. I forgot to write the cooldown, but that's like 10 seconds there. And then the divinity again gets the mystic there. Attacks have a 20% chance to reduce the target speed by 60%, and elemental attack and base attack by 30% for 3 seconds. And mystic divinity here, that 60% reduction is big, and elemental reduction and base attack reduction by 30% is big as well. So 27 points for the Flame Griffin, well deserved. And then we have the Nitro here. This one turns out kinda surprising for me. 23 points, a decent mount here I would say. For the first skill here, reduce attack speed and basic attack of enemy by 45%. So that's huge and can be really useful. And the second talent, increase attack speed and base attack of allies by 45%. That is working for you as well. So another legendary skill there. And unfortunately, the third skill only increased the damage reduction by 20% for 6 seconds. Gets an epic. And the fourth skill, reduce the damage reduction of enemy by 20% for 6 seconds. Gets epic. And then the fifth skill, increase skill damage by 20% for 6 seconds. Gets the legendary. 6th skill, increased skill damage reduction by 20%, guess legendary. And the last talent is guess the mystic, 20% chance to increase your total damage reduction and total damage by 16% for 6 seconds. So that makes it a mystic talent, 16% total damage, 16% total damage reduction on one single skill. And the divinity attacks have a 16% chance to increase your attack speed by 25% and damage by 40% for 5 seconds. So that is a really decent good talent there on the Nitro, and it got the rating of 23 points. And next we have the Longaevitas here. Sorry about butchering the name. Gets a rating of 24 here. Very decent rating. The first talent gets a mystic. It has one of the highest healing in any among any mounts here. So guess mystic there. And second one, increase skill damage by 20%, guess legendary. Reduce enemy skill damage by 20%, guess legendary. Fourth skill, become immune to control effects and other debuffs for 6 seconds. Straight away guess the mystic. But the fifth skill, we had this skill before on the Aurugos, same skill here, guess green again. This 8% damage to HP is not gonna do anything, so guess green. And then 6 skill, increase total damage reduction by 20% for 6 seconds, guess legendary. And then at the N7 skill, 20% chance to be a trigger for the next 6 seconds, reduce total damage of nearby enemies by 15% and increase total damage of you and LS by 15%. So that is really good and makes this skill a mystic. But when it comes to the divinity attacks, has a 20% chance to deal additional damage equal to 12% of targets. This is kind of like the Baalkor but a toned down version. I was really thinking about giving it a green, but we end up giving it blue anyways, because it does increase your damage and deal some damage. And yeah, that's it. And next we have the Liongator, again getting 24 points. Decent amount of rating there. First skill, reduce total damage reduction of enemies by 20%. Legendary, increase total damage reduction. Again legendary, slow down enemies by 40%. So that slowdown is really big. It is gonna slow down your enemies movement speed and attack speed by 40%, and that is why it got the legendary rating there. And then the fourth skill, reduce attack speed and extra damage of enemies by 20% for 6 seconds, guess epic. Recover HP there, this HP is like 30% in 2 seconds, so guess a legendary. Then shock nearby enemies for 3 seconds, guess a legendary. A lot of legendary on this mount. Then last skill, 20% chance to increase total damage of allies within 80 range by 20% for 6 seconds. This is gonna be working for you and the allies, so guess the legendary and the divinity, guess the mystic. Rating here, attacks have a 16% chance to reduce the enemy movement speed by 30% and skill damage reduction by 60% for 5 seconds. So that 60% skill damage reduction is huge and makes this divinity into a mystic. So a rating of 24 for the Liongator. And then we have the Icefury here. It didn't get that good of a rating, but it was expected. Like I said when it came out, this is a mount which you can skip if you want to. But anyways, first skill, slow down enemies by 30% for a second, guess the epic rating. Then the second, increase attack speed by 35%, guess epic. Increase damage reduction by 20%, guess epic. Reduce 16% of enemy extra damage, guess epic. Then it has again a really big healing there, goes all the way up to 40%, so guess a mystic for the healing there, then stun enemies for 3 seconds, gets the legendary. Then again at the end, legendary for increase total damage of you and allies, so a decent talent there. And as for the divinity, attacks have a 20% chance to increase your attack speed by 50% and reduce the attacker's movement speed by 40% for 10 seconds. So that 10-second duration is really big on this divinity here, and the cooldown is like only 25 seconds. So this skill is gonna be triggering every 15 seconds. That is why it got the rating of legendary here. Otherwise it would be like epic if the cooldown was higher. But anyways, 21 points for the Icefury here. Next we have the Chromoagore here, got the rating of 23. I know you guys were expecting higher rating here, but this is a mod which have some of very good talents and others are just not as good. But anyways, first one, enemies lose 2.5% HP per second within 80 range. It is much better than the health Chariot here, but still gets a ranking of legendary here. And the second skill straight away gets Mystic. Enemies below 17% HP dies immediately trying to escape from their area. So if they have less than 17% HP and they move, they are gonna end up dying. This makes this talent into a Mystic, and that is why this mod, like, people think so good. And then the third talent, increase the damage reduction by 20%, gets epic. Reduce movement speed of enemies by 20% for 6 seconds, gets epic. Recover 25% of lost HP. This is only 25% recovery of HP, so gets legendary. Then reduce attack speed of enemies by 50%, gets epic. Increase total damage of allies within 80 range by 20, gets legendary. Then divinities again really good, can make you immune for 3 seconds, so you won't get any damage. So that's a Mystic. So the second talent and the divinity is what makes this mod really good to have, and it gets a rating of 23, which is pretty decent so far. And then we have the Archion here. Sorry if I'm butchering the name again, but it got the rating of 26, which is really good. This mount is like a walking rare attributes booster, and that is why it got a rating of 26 points here. So anyways, first skill, increase 20% skill damage, high, legendary. Second skill, increase own skill damage by 20%, get legendary. Slow down enemy for 40%. It means slow down movement speed and attack speed by 40%, so that is why it got the legendary. And the fourth one, reduce enemy skill damage and the extra damage by 16, gets the Mystic. And the recovery, we have some recover 12% of lost HP per second for 3 seconds, so guess the legendary there. Then increase total damage by 20% for 3 seconds, gets legendary. Then 20% chance to damage enemy within 80 range for 4 seconds of their current HP by per second for 5 seconds. So this is gonna end up damaging your enemy by total of 20% HP. So this is a legendary skill there. And at the end, divinity is a Mystic. When attacked, there is a 20% chance to reduce the attacker's total damage by 50% and skill damage by 50% for 5 seconds. A really good divinity, and this mount gets a rating of 26. And next we have the Whitescale, which got the rating of 28 as well, just like the Royal Carriage, and it is gonna be, I think, the best mount in game right now, because it has more talents here, it doesn't have any movement speed. All the talents here are actually giving you erase or something else, so that is what makes this mount the best right now in game. Unlike the Royal Carriage, it has one talent which is movement speed, a mystic talent, and on this mount there is nothing like that. All these skills here are like purely doing something. So first skill, reduce enemy skill damage by 20%, legendary increase skill damage 20%, legendary reduce enemy skill damage reduction by 20%, legendary increase skill damage reduction by 20%, legendary, and then increase attack speed and total damage by 20% for second mystic. There, a really good combo. Reduce attack speed and total damage of enemies by 20% for 6 seconds. Again, a mystic talent there, and then we are seeing 50% chance to become immune to most control effects for 6 seconds. This effect can only trigger once every 15 seconds, so this is gonna be triggering every 9 seconds. So this is gonna be a very good talent, mystic actually. And then at the end, divinity attacks have a 20% chance to reduce enemy total damage reduction by 50% and skill damage reduction by 50% for 5 seconds. And this effect can only trigger every 30 seconds per target. So Whitescale gets a rating of 28, which is really high, and in my opinion this is gonna be on the top one right now. And then we have the Gigagon here. Everything here is same. Every single talent is same as the Nitro when it's come to the talents. The only thing which is better here on this mount is the divinity. When attacking enemies, there is a 24% chance to increase your total damage by 100% for 5 seconds and increase your rage by 10. So this is like a mystic quality divinity here, and it got one more point compared to Nitro, but everything else is same. And next we have the last mount here. Yhorm, if I'm saying it correctly, got a rating of 25 here. Very good. Only low because of one bad talent here, which we will go and see. First talent here, increase skill damage reduction by 20%, gets legendary. Second, again increase reduce skill damage reduction of enemies by 20% for 6 seconds, gets legendary. Reduce 45% movement speed of enemies for 6 seconds, gets legendary. And then you and allies become immune to most control effects, get mystic. Heal, a really heal, good heal, 60% heal there of your missing HP, gets mystic. And then the sixth talent here again is so bad, that is why it got a rating of 25. This damage enemies 8% of their current HP for 2 seconds. This talent is not gonna do anything. Aurugos got this talent, and one other mount got this talent, and this talent is something which is not gonna do anything. But anyways, the last talent here got a legendary 32% chance to reduce the total damage reduction of enemies within 80 range by 20% for 6 seconds. So a really good talent there, got a legendary. And as for the divinity, again mystic, when attacking there is a 20% chance to reduce the target skill damage and skill damage reduction by 50% for 5 seconds, cannot affect the same target more than once every 30 seconds. So but anyways, we are done with all the mounts here. You guys can take the screenshot if it was like too long to watch the video, which it is a long video because I had to go through each talent and explain why I gave them the rating that we are seeing here. But anyways, I'm gonna sign off. You guys can take screenshot and comment in the comment section down below, and I'll be reading those. And have a good day, guys. Take care.